Okay, so parents and students, today we worked on, in lesson 16, we worked on comparing two numbers or two three-digit numbers using the less than or greater than sign and equal than sign. And I thought I would go over with you guys kind of what we were doing. So in this lesson, we are working with place value disc, and we did that in class today. So for the homework, your child is going to be drawing the place value disc. So I want to give you an example of how that is done. So here is a question that we had in class today. It says, which number is less, 105 or 135? So what the kids did today, we made our number chart. And I always like the kids to label their number chart as H for hundreds, T for tens, and O for ones. And then over here we'll make another place value chart, H for hundreds, T for tens, O for ones. And now we're going to start drawing place value disc. We're going to start by doing 105. So in 105 there is one 100, so we're going to show that over here by drawing a 100s disc. And then there are 0 tens, so we're going to leave this tens place blank. And then there are 5 ones, so we're going to show that by drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. Alright, now over here we're going to show 105. Okay, so here we have 1 100, so we're going to draw 1 100. And then here we have 3 tens. So we're going to draw in the tens place 3 tens. 1, 2, 3. And then here in the ones place we have 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so looking at our place value chart, if we look at our hundreds place, they are both the same. So by looking at the hundreds place, it's kind of hard to tell which would be greater or less than. But now if we look at the tens place, we notice in 105, so this is 105, there are no tens, 0 tens. And if we'll look in the second place value chart, which we've represented 135, we have 3 tens. So here we have 3 tens here. So we know that 3 tens is more than 0 tens. So right away we can tell that 135 is larger than 105 just by looking at the tens place. So that is one way to determine if a number is greater or smaller or greater or less than. So another way that we can show that is on an empty number line. So if your child is having a hard time looking at it or determining which is less or greater than by the chart, maybe try an open number line. So here we have let's say 0, and here we have 100. And so for 105, we would jump 100 and then 5 little jumps for ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about right here would be 105. Now let's try jumping 135. So I'm going to do it. I'll do it using a dotted line. So again, for 135, we're going to have one big jump to 100. And then you'll notice, since 135 has 3 tens, then we're going to have like maybe 3 medium jumps. 1, 2, 3. So that's 30. And then 5 little jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so we end up right here for 135. So this is just another way to determine if a number is less or greater than. So this might be a method that you might want to use if your child is struggling with the place value chart. So anyway, this was a problem that we did in class today. So now I want you to take a look at your homework. So here you'll see in the homework, the first question says, draw the following numbers using place value disc on the place value charts. Answer the questions below. So here we have A, 241, B says 412, and C says 124. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our place value disc. So in 241 we have how many 100s? We have 2 100s. So we're going to draw 1, 2 100s. How many 10s do we have? Well, it looks like we have 4 10s. So let's draw 4 10s. 1, whoops. That doesn't look too good. Let's try that again. We have 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s, and 4 10s. And then in the ones place, how many ones do we have? We have 1 1. So we're going to draw 1 1. Okay? So here we have just drawn place value disc for 241. Now we're going to do the same thing for 412. So let's draw how many 100s? Well, we've got 4 100s. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. How many 10s do we have? Well, if you look in the tens place, there is 1 10. So I'm going to draw 1 10. And in the ones place, we have 2 1s. So let's draw 2 1s. 1 2. All right, so now last one is 124. So in 124, we have 1 100. We have 2 10s and 4 1s. All right, so now let's go to the next question. It says D, order the numbers from least to greatest. So the least would be the smallest number, greatest being the biggest number. All right, so let's take a look at these numbers. So usually what I like for the children to do is look at the largest unit first, and then from there go to the next smallest unit, and then the smallest being the ones place. So if you look at the hundreds place, in 241 we have 2 100s. In B we have 4 100s. In C we have 1 100. Well, right away, because the hundreds, there are more 100s in 412, I can automatically tell that 412 is our biggest number. All right, I'm going to hold on just a second. My little boy is calling for me. Sorry about that, guys. I'll be right back.
Can I have another story?
Yeah, go on. Sorry, guys. I wasn't expecting him to come in here. He was supposed to be in his bedroom listening to a story on Story Online. So anyway, the life of a teacher and a parent. So anyway, let's get back to this. So we have 412 would be our greatest number. So we're going to write 412. Okay, so now we need to compare the two numbers that are left. So we have 241 and 124. So right away, I'm going to look at the hundreds place. Well, 241 has 200s, and this one has 100. So the next number in order from least to greatest would be 241. And then therefore what's left is 124. So that is one way to determine if a number is larger or smaller or greater or less than, okay? Now, for number 2, it says circle less than or greater than. All right, then whisper the complete sentence. So we like for the students to be able to say back or say to themselves what the sentence is. So let's look at A. It says 112 is less than or greater than 135. Well, if you have some scratch paper, we can again make a number chart, or not a number chart, but a place value chart just like this. Or we can just take a look at the numbers we got here. Before we look right here in the hundredths place, we have 1 100, and over here we have 1 100. Well, those are the same, so let's go to the next largest unit, which would be the tens place. Here we have 1 10, and here we have 3 tens. Well, 3 tens is more than 1 10, so right there, immediately I can tell from there that 135 is going to be the bigger number, and 112 is the smaller number. So therefore, 112 is less than 135. So you would circle less than, okay? All right, so let's take a look at D. So 475 is less than or greater than 457. Now that one can be tricky if you're not careful and don't look at these numbers individually. So let's look at the hundredths place. We have 4 100ths, and over here we also have 4 100ths. That is the same. So it is the next thing you would want to do is look at the tens place. Well, there are 7 tens here, and there are 5 tens here. Well, 7 is a bigger number than 5, or 7 tens is bigger than 5 tens. Also, it's important for your child to know that 7 tens is also the same thing as 70, and 5 tens is the same thing as 50. So 70 is more than 50. So right away, I can tell that 475 is the bigger number. 457 is the smaller number, even though they have the same digits, they're just switched around. So it's important to be careful and look at that closely. Oh, and another way you can look at it, you can look at the number of tens. We can also say that in 475 there are 47 tens, and in 457 there's 45 tens. Well, 47 tens is more than 45 tens. Again, 475 is the bigger number. So we would say that 475 is greater than 457. All right, so now let's take a look at E. It says 300 plus 60 plus 5 is less than or greater than 635. Well, when you have a problem like this, I always tell my students to solve it first. So here we have 300 plus 60 plus 5. What is 300 plus 60 plus 5? Well, it's 365. So 365 is less than or greater than 335. And from here, you can do the same technique or strategy that we used here or here, okay? And then again on F, here we have 4 tens and 2 ones is less than or greater than 24. Well, before we start comparing, we need to figure out, well, what is 4 tens and 2 ones? 4 tens and 2 ones, well, 4 tens and 2 ones is 42. So 42, is it less than or greater than 24? And then circle the correct one, okay? Now let's look at number 3. Now for number 3, we're going to actually use the symbols greater or less than or equal. All right, so there's a couple of ways, or actually 3 ways that I've taught my children or students to recognize which is less than, which one's greater than, or an equal to. Of course, equal is easy. I've taught the students that equal means the same as. That means on either side of the equal sign, the numbers are the same or they equal the same number. So one of the hardest ones would be trying to identify which symbol means greater and which one means less than. Well, one way I like to tell my students is to think of the greater or less than symbol as the arrows on a number line. So here we have it, a number line. So 0 would be the smaller number, and let's say this number line goes to 10. 10 is the larger number. All right, so in between you've got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you can see here the numbers are getting smaller this way. This is the less than sign. And the numbers are getting larger this way. This is the greater than sign. All right, so that's one way. And another way is if you look at the less than sign is always going to point to the smaller number, and it's if you make dots on it, it's going to have one dot. One, and on this side, which would point to the greater number, has 2 dots. 2 is the bigger number. So that's another way to look at it. And then finally is the alligator symbolism. The alligator always likes to eat the bigger number. So the smaller number is going to eat the bigger number. So therefore, it's going to open up to the bigger number. So those are just 3 ways to identify which symbol is less or greater than. So we're going to look at a couple of problems down here that might be a little tricky. So let's look at D. We have 602, and then over here we have the number word 602. Well, 602 is 602, so therefore this would be equal then. All right, now let's take a look at this one. We have 9 tens and 6 ones. Well, 9 tens and 6 ones is 96. So I would have your child to write down the number in standard form. So it just makes it a little bit easier for comparison. So now we can easily see that 96 we're comparing 96 to 92. So 96 is greater or less than 92. Well, 96 is greater than 92. So therefore, I would make sure I have my greater than symbol. So here you'll notice here the 92, the smaller point where if you had 1 dot faces the 92, and here we have 2 points, so that would be the bigger number on this side. Or you can think of it as the alligator. The little number is eating the bigger number, whichever works. Or you can take a look at the number line, less than, greater than. This is the greater than. All right, let's do one more down here. We have 84 minus 10 is greater or less than or equal to 7 tens and 5 ones. Well, here it would be a good idea to solve for both sides. So 84 minus 10, well, what's 10 less than 84? 74. And here we have 7 tens and 5 ones. Well, 7 tens is 7 and 5 ones is 5. So we are comparing 74 to 75. So 74 is less than 75. So I would put the less than symbol. So anyway, this is homework number 16, and I sure hope this has helped you tonight with completing your homework. And if you think this is something that is helpful, just let me know, and I will definitely try to do a few more videos like this, especially if we have homework that is a little bit more difficult to do. Anyway, if you have any questions, you know where I'm at. Just give me a call at school or send me a text on Remind. And you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. Bye-bye.